Hello. As we here at NIOT join the celebration of our nation's 250th birthday, we've launched a video project called Foundations of Freedom, which celebrates the role of New York towns in American history. Although often told through great events and national milestones, the foundation of America was laid locally, in towns where civic life took shape, communities formed, and democratic ideals were put into practice every day. Nowhere is that more evident than in New York's towns, where histories reflect the perseverance, ingenuity, and public spirit that have helped shape our nation for nearly 250 years. Foundations of Freedom brings together the voices of towns from across New York State to honor that shared legacy. Each story in this series offers a glimpse into the town's origins, growth, and defining moments.
My name is Tom Mooreland. I was an attorney in New York City for many years, moved up here part-time in 1980 and full-time in 2009. I was the town historian from 2016 to last year, 2024, and live in a 1807 house over in Dugway Road. Well, we don't have any first-person testimonies from that age, but some of the early settlers became familiar with this area as a result of participating in the War of 1748. They had traversed this land on the way to the war and the way home, and some of them decided to stay, and probably that was one source of the interest. We don't know how the original 75 families came together, but they did. They got a permission to buy the land from the Mohegan Indians, and did in 1757. And the area developed pretty rapidly from that point on. Well, in those days, hamlets had to be pretty self-sufficient. So you had, local stores, local mills, and Austerlitz, meaning Spencertown and the hamlet of Austerlitz, were self-sufficient. There was a commercial center here in Spencertown. There was something of a regional commercial center. There was not a lot of industry, but there was a tool-making plant down in the Green River area, and there were 7 or 8 mills operating. So you had a commercial presence that largely dissipated when you get to the railroad age, because the railroads came in starting in the 1830, but more 1850 era. The railroads went to Chatham. So Chatham grew rapidly in that period onward. And Spencertown and Austerlitz became sort of quieter, less commercial. So the character of the town changed with that era. The automobile, of course, made it possible for people to travel for work elsewhere. So you had people over time, a lot of them Pittsfield to General Electric and Albany area. So it became something of a commuter town, you could say, not primarily, but that was a part of it. And that helped preserve the rural character of the town, and that you didn't have much commercial development here. You had more people traveling to work elsewhere.
A little bit about Spencertown Academy.
Spencertown Academy was founded in 1846. It was one of numerous academies around the state at that period of time. They were private, but yet were open to the public for the payment of a tuition, and very important in terms of the town's image of itself, I think. It was a private academy until 1871, when it became the public school. So it continued to be an important center of the educational life until it finally closed in 1970 or 71, when this area became part of the Chatham Consolidated District. But until then, this was a major importance, both as a private institution and then as a public school.
Is there anything going on there today?
Well, it's converted into a community social cultural center after it ceased being a school, and it's a very active organization that draws people from all over the Capital District to its art exhibits, its musical performances. So it's still a very real important part of the town. Well, I think it's become a very attractive place for people who have retirement homes, second homes, in addition to the longtime residents. It's a very, I would say, quiet and sort of serene area almost. Most of the old houses are still here and lovingly cared for by their owners. It's peaceful, and of course it's a beautiful area scenically. So even though there's not much happening in terms of social life, people like living here, and the old houses are quickly purchased when they become available. And I think the figure is that of the houses that were in Spencertown in 1888, 85% of them are still here. So you have a well-preserved New Englandly feeling area, which attracts a lot of people who are retiring, such as me. That's how I came here. And it's a friendly place to live. Well, I think it gives you a sense of place. If you know the history of the town and can identify what's here today with what was here yesterday, I've always thought that's one of the attractions of the area, that you can sense you're back in the 19th century pretty easily. The roads have pretty much stayed the same. Most of the houses are still here, and it's easy to feel that you're living in a historic area. Very few new buildings have been constructed here over the last 80 years at least. So the fingerprint of the town, the road patterns and such, are pretty much the same as they were back in the 1800s. So it gives you a sense of place that you're not just from anywhere in particular. You're from Spencertown or Austerlitz, and it has a self-identity, I think, that people take pride in. Yeah, when I got a call from the president of the Austerlitz Historical Society back around 2012. She was looking for somebody to chair the research committee. I had not been active in the society at all up at that point. And I said, I'm willing to do that if we can make our first project to study the old houses of Austerlitz, because my wife and I would drive around and see an old house. We wondered, well, exactly how old was that? Who lived there? Did anything notable happen there? So that was fine. And so we arbitrarily said that any house that was here in 1888, that was going to be our dividing line. Those were the old houses. So there's roughly about 167 of them that are still here. And so we began to study their history through deeds and mortgages and anything else we could learn about them. And also did a history of Austerlitz, which had never really been done before. So that's part of the book also. It took 6 years to do the book, myself and some members of the research committee that helped me. And we got it published in the bicentennial year of the town. And then, you keep looking and you find errors that you made to some extent in research, and you find new things that you didn't know about. So that's why we put out a second edition last year.